Hi, I'm Joe Finsternis, and tonight I'm going to be talking to you about a movie called Martyrs. Now, this is a French film with subtitles, but the DVD does feature an English-speaking dub track, so even if you hate subtitles, you just go ahead and stick around and decide for yourself if you want to watch this movie. Now, this is the final film in the unofficial trilogy of French New Wave horror films, with the other two being Inside and Frontier. I've given my thoughts on those two movies in my Inside review if you want to check that out. And this is another one of those films that's been listed as one of the most disturbing movies. Now, the story pretty much revolves around this little girl named Lucy who escapes from this place where she's been badly abused and tormented and pretty much scarred for life, and then you get to see her later as an adult. And that's where I'm going to stop with my synopsis, because the plot of this movie is very hard to predict. There's a twist practically around every corner, and if you do decide to watch the film, I would like you to go into it as fresh as I did. Now, before watching this film, I saw on the DVD that had an optional director's introduction to it, and I'm always interested in hearing these things, you know, as long as the director doesn't spoil anything. Obviously, it does kind of help to psych me up for a film a little bit, like, oh, we made this with so much heart, this is my favorite movie I made so far, it was so much fun to make, blah blah blah. And I love the way that he introduces this film, because right off the bat he tells you you're about to watch Martyrs, and I don't know if you've made the right decision by doing this. He goes on to say that you might hate him for making this movie, and he even apologizes for it. So, with the sort of hype built around this film as being one of the most disturbing movies, and the director himself making apologies for it, I pretty much knew that I was going to be in for something, and it does live up to the expectations and then some. This is not an easy watch by any means. As far as the gore and violence go, it does get pretty graphic. I wouldn't consider it to be gratuitous or exploitative. You know, the violence is sort of a tool to tell the story here, and it hits you on an emotional level as well. You know, when I was watching Inside, I was affected emotionally. There was a point during that movie where I had my hands come up to here and I was saying no over and over again. There was another point where I was so on the edge of my seat that I just started drumming on the table absent-mindedly, you know. And this movie never had that effect on me because I was completely immobile throughout the majority of the film, as I was just staring at the screen, transfixed with my eyes widening in shock. It's really just shocking is the best word that I can use to describe it. That's pretty much a word that I never use to describe a movie. I throw around words like graphic and gory and disturbing all the time, but shocking, that's kind of a new one. I don't even think I'm going to watch this movie a second time in the near future because it is such a grueling experience. I am going to keep the DVD because it is very well made. One minor detail that I appreciated in this movie was the casting of both young Lucy and old Lucy. You know, when she shows up as an adult, she doesn't introduce herself at all, but she doesn't have to, because as soon as she came on screen, I immediately recognized her, because the adult actress was the spitting image of the child from the beginning of the film. So it's little things like that that I appreciate in movies. It is very competently made, in my opinion. It's just not fun. And anyone who does describe Martyrs as being a fun movie needs to be locked up. And if you thought that Martyrs was fun to watch, then you need to turn yourself in and do the world a favor before you kill again. Yeah. Pretty much the most polarizing element of this film, I think, might be the ending. I even looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, and there were a few critics on there who said that the film fell apart for them during the final act. I thought that the ending of this movie was very interesting, and it's not exactly like the movie Countdown, where I thought that the film could have benefited from ending in a different way. I actually thought that it was perfect the way that it was. It's just like I said, a lot of people might have differing opinions on that. So in the end, I do recommend this movie, but only if you're interested in extreme films. If Inside is a movie that will push your limits, this movie will crush them. Anyway, if you are faint of heart, and if you're just a casual horror watcher who isn't into the really gory material, and if you're going through like a state of depression and you're not in the mood to be upset by a film, don't watch this movie. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about Martyrs. I hope you all have a good one.